Right, are you all ready? Good. One second. To start the live. Sure we are live. Are we live? Wait, sorry. Let me just see what's going on. Why is it not starting? Hey, it's not starting. Check the cable. See. Give me 1 second. Let me restart the microphone. Right. Everybody write the date. What is it? 12 June. I'm live. Good. 12 June 2026. Why I make you write the date is so that you can show me your notes at the end of the lesson, because I always want them, okay? I can't see them physically, so I'll give you where you submit, where I can be able to see your notes nicely. Right. So write with me. Let's move very fast. I'll summarize everything. Madichaba, can you hear me? Okay. And it was Madichaba and who, by the way? Who's the other one? Is it Nello? Nello? You're also writing on, man. Can you hear me? Good. Let's go through topic 14. So everybody, here is the one I want you to write, okay? Write for me to say, we're doing chapter 14 out of 21, and it's called coordination and response. So there is no one who can say you have done the chapter if you don't have any notes. That is why I always make sure you have the resources to answer questions with. So when I say you are done with the chapter, it means you now understand, and you also now have notes, so that when you're asked to answer a question, you can be able to answer a question. So this is very important. Let's go through these. I'm going to give you notes that you're going to use when you're answering questions. I'll be explaining whilst also giving you things to write, because you need things to write. So now write to say, this chapter is divided into 6 major sections. For me to say you are now good at this chapter, you should know 6 things. There are 6 things that you must know for you to say you know chapter 14. The first thing, okay, 1, you must know the human nervous system. Okay? Everybody must know the human nervous system. You must know the human nervous system. What is it? And how many parts does it have and everything? Are we together? Then 2, you must know neurons. You must know neurons, reflexes, and the synapse. You must know the neurons. You must know reflexes. What are reflex actions? And what is the reflex arc? And you must know what we call the synapse. You must know this. Then you must know what we call sense organs. You must know what we call sense organs, which is so easy because everybody knows the 5 senses: see, taste, feel, smell, and hear. So when we now say we have sense organs, it is the organs that help us with the 5 senses. If we say one of the 5 senses is seeing, then what organ do we use to see? The eye. If we say one of the 5 senses is hearing, then what organs do we use to hear? The ears. So what are the ears? Sense organs. If we say taste, then what organ do we use to taste? The tongue. So the tongue is a what? It's a sense organ. Are we together? So you must know the sense organs, which are the organs your body uses to sense. Am I being heard? Then we have, when it comes to understanding and knowing all the parts, you should just know the eye. The eye is the only one that we actually then focus on. You must just know the other ones generally, but when it comes to the eye, you must know a lot of things about the eye. It's the only sense organ that you study at IGCSE level. The eye. You look at the eye, the different parts of the eye, then you should understand how the iris works, where we say, how does the iris, when it's dark or when there's a lot of light, how does the iris work? Then you must know, how does the lens work to accommodate when things are far and close? We talk about the pupil. Are we together? Then those are the things about the eye. Basically, you should know about the eye. Then you should know about hormones. Hormones and the endocrine system, which is the system of hormones. We have the nervous system, which is fast. It is for fast communication. The body is talking to itself, but very fast. Then we have the endocrine system, where the body uses hormones to talk to itself. It no longer uses signals. It now will be using hormones. It's called the endocrine system. Then the fifth thing you must know is homeostasis. You should know homeostasis. You should know homeostasis. Then finally you get to the last thing, which is tropism. Tropism is the same topic that we have been learning about, but now you'll be learning about it in plants. So for the first 5, you are learning how the human body responds to things. How does it respond? How does it talk to itself and respond? Then in the 6th part, you now need to learn, how does the plant respond? So there's a lot of work. Can you see that? See that there's a lot of work. But I'm going to try to make it as short as I can. Okay? Yes? Are you ready? Good. Let's start. Part 1. We'll be done very soon, okay? So we're going to push until we're done with this. Then we go to the next thing and everything. So let's go part 1. Part 1, everybody, right? The nervous system. The nervous system. Okay? Let's quickly go through. Once we have these notes and everything, we are done with this chapter, and those girls should get 100% on Monday. Right? The nervous system. What should you know about this? You should just know what it is, then you should know its parts. So I'll just tell you generally. To say the nervous system. The nervous system helps the body to, 1, detect. So let me tell you what we are learning. This chapter, which is called coordination and response, we are just trying to learn, how does the body respond to things when things change. Nello, I see your hand is up. You have a question? Okay. What you should know in this chapter, we are just trying to see. Let's say you are feeling hungry. How does the body know you're feeling hungry, and how does it respond? Let's say you step on something which is painful. How does your body know that and quickly respond? All these things that are happening, that's what we are trying to learn. Let's say you put your hand somewhere where it's hot and you need to quickly lift it. How does the body do that? That's what we are learning. How does the body know when things are not right? How does the body know when you're feeling cold and to tell you to put on a jersey? Or all these things that it does, how does the body do it? This is what we're doing. To detect changes, and then to respond. So that is what coordination and response is. To detect changes in the environment and to respond to them. So the nervous system helps the body to detect the changes. The nervous system helps the body to process information. The nervous system helps the body to coordinate responses. Okay? The nervous system helps the body to control body activities. So the nervous system helps the body to do all this, to detect changes, process information, to respond to it. That's not what I want you to know. Don't waste your time with here. What I want you to know is that it has the nervous system moves information through the body. It sends information through the body as electrical signals. as electrical signals or electrical impulses, okay? Or electrical impulses. The nervous system, it moves information around the body as electrical impulses, okay? The human, all we are doing is about humans. The human nervous system, this is what you need to know, people, has two parts. The human nervous system has two parts. One is called central nervous system. Okay? Central nervous system. Okay? And I want you to say underneath, this is the brain and the spinal cord. The brain and the spinal cord. This is the central nervous system. Your nervous system is supposed to send information in your body. And we have the central part of it, which is making decisions. Information should move. But for information to move, there has to be decisions made. Tell the hand that it should lift its hand, you're burning. Tell the muscles in the hand to lift the hand is burning. Do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. Decisions are being made in the central nervous system. So when we say the word nervous system, there are two parts. The central nervous system, then the peripheral nervous system, which means everything else. The central nervous system is the special part where decisions are made. The brain and the spinal cord. These two do decisions. PNS now means the peripheral. Come on, doctors. Don't let me down. The second part is called peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system. If somebody asks you, what are the two parts of the nervous system? CNS, central nervous system, for decisions, and peripheral nervous system, these are now the cables, the neurons, the ones that move the electrical signals after decisions have been made. These are now, so here, this is the coordination center, by the way. So you can put an arrow and say this is the coordination center. What does it mean to say coordination center? This is where decisions are being made. Decisions are being made. Peripheral nervous system, no decision is made here. These just carry messages. Okay? Peripheral nervous system, it carries messages. These are the neurons. They just carry, we can say the nerves. When you bring neurons together, we say we have nerves. And because you have so many neurons, we group them together into what we call nerves. When it's one cable, it's called a neuron. When it's many cables together, we call it a nerve. And we have many nerves, which is bunches of cables. Bunch in your body. And you have signals moving, information moving. So this is, what is this? Peripheral nervous system. These are, you can do this. Come on now. You know what this is. These are all the nerves. All the nerves. Okay. Or you can say all neurons. All the neurons. Okay. Central nervous system, brain, and spinal cord. They're coordinating. They're making decisions, thinking, sending information sending information wherever it needs to go. Then we have the cables themselves. Together we now say this is the complete nervous system. Are we together? Good. Let's do the second part. The three neurons. Let's do the second part. We say the nervous system has two parts. Now, the part you must really know, you are not expected to know the brain at this age. You're going to know it if you want to study it in medicine. But at this stage, you're expected to know the peripheral nervous system, the 3 neurons that are in the peripheral nervous system. There are 3 types. So, right here to say neurons, reflexes, and synapses. And the synapse, you can say, and the synapse. The synapse. You should know what each of these are. Should know everything here. Neurons, what should you know about neurons? What is expected of you to know? You should know that there are 3 types of neurons. You should know that we have 3 types of neurons. Let's do their diagram, then we're going to describe them. Okay? Let's do their diagrams, and then we're going to describe them, right? What do you think? We do the 3 neurons, then we can describe them. Or maybe let's first write. There are 3 types of neurons. One is the sensory neuron. Make it as a table, okay? Make it as a table, so don't write big things. Then 2 is going to be the relay or intermediate neuron. So you can say intermediate, it means the middle one. Intermediate neuron. Sensory neuron senses it. It's connected to the sensors. Basically, it doesn't sense, but it's connected to the sensors. Then this, and then we have the, remember, neurons are just cables. The 3rd type is the motor neuron. Motor neuron. This intermediate neuron is also called the relay neuron. Can I ask you a question? I hope you are writing fast, by the way. Okay? Part of being a good student is writing fast, moving, because we have a lot of work. We never have enough time, so we've got to move fast. Can I ask you a question? What happens in a relay? What happens in a relay? One person runs, gives somebody the stick, right? Then they run and they give the next one the stick, right? Then they run and they give the next one the button stick, right? So in relay, information comes from one, then is passed to another. So that's the same thing with a relay neuron. We start with a sensor neuron, which is the first cable. Then this cable will connect to the relay neuron. But remember, it's called the relay neuron. Its job is to take and give to the next. Because in relay, you take and give to the next. So this is not the final one. How can it be? The final one is the motor neuron. Are we together? Relay neuron is the middle one. So sensory neuron gives to the relay neuron, gives to the motor neuron. Okay? And you have your 3 types. When you do them as diagrams, let's do quick diagrams. I want you to do this. Then I want you to put a nice tube. Okay. A tube which will go in here and split itself. Let me make it thinner. Okay. You have a nice tube which comes and splits itself into 3 sections like this. Right. Goes down, then bends. Here it continues. Here it goes into a nice balloon, which will come back and continue here. Goes down, and then you can have it do whatever it does here. Right. This is the diagram I want you to have. This is the sensory neuron. How do we know? Okay. Of course, they have these nice insulations. Okay. If you want, you can shade it if you want this insulation. Don't draw, don't make it complicated. Do a nice, simple drawing. Simple drawing. And we move on. This here, okay, this is what we call myelin sheath. It's for insulation. This is what we call the axon. Then I want you to call this a receptor cell. So, once you have a receptor cell like this, you know you are dealing with a sensory neuron because it should be connected to the sense organ. This comes from the sense organ. It carries information from the sense organ. That's why it has receptor cells. And information moves like this. So you can say direction of signal. And here is the cell body. Sorry. Why did I say axon? I wanted to say cell body. What did I say? Sorry for that. This is obviously not the axon. This is the cell body. Okay, you can put some things. But you should have a big circle, which is the nucleus. This is the cell body. Can you write this down? Can you draw this? And then I want to see some ugly shapes here. Just draw weird things. And those weird things, we call them dendrites. Then you do something like this. And it goes to here. And it's already finished. Then I want you to say, here is your nucleus. Then you have the ribosomes and everything in the cytoplasm. Then I want you to put an arrow and say, this is the cell body. It's not at the center. The cell body. Cell body is where you find the nucleus. And these are called dendrites. Okay? And put this. Give me a second. Right. Sorry. Thank you for being patient. So, what they're going to need you to know. So, every section you do, bio, whatever, there is something they want you to know, and they'll ask you about it. So, when you are studying something, you have to make sure that you know what they actually want you to know. Don't waste your time on things they won't ask you. Focus on what they. So, what they'll need you to know is that there are three neurons, and they'll need you to tell the differences between the three neurons. The three neurons. Are we together? You should tell us what goes on with the sensory neuron, what goes on with the relay neuron, and what goes on with the motor neuron. What do you know about their shapes? What do you know about their length? What do you know about the parts they have? Are we together? Good. Let's see now. And this is important. And their function as well. You should also know their function. So that's going to be very important. So I need you to just know their. You should be able to draw their diagrams with your eyes closed. So anyway, what is important is dendrite and cell body, and also what is important is the fact that if you look here, this is the axon. Okay, if you look at the axon, it doesn't have any myelin sheath. Just like here, we had the axon. Okay, we had the axon here, but you can see that around it, it has myelin sheath. Here, the axon does not have. Okay, this one has dendrites and stuff. Now let's see. Last part. Let's do the motor neuron. Okay, what would it be like? The motor neuron. We just put the same thing. Okay, at the end, it kind of has dendrites. So put things like this, and you know, you know. I'm not really bothered about how you draw your dendrites. You just put your dendrites, then you go down and down and down and down and down and down. It's just straight, and it's just tubes and tubes and tubes and tube and a tube and a tube and a tube and a tube until it gets to the end. Okay? This is what you have. And this is what we call the motor neuron. Are we together? This is the motor neuron. What do we call these at the end? Dendrites. Now, can I ask you a question? On the sensory neuron, did you see any dendrites? No. Good, you didn't. Let's come here now. Here we have dendrites. Then we have our cell body. This is our cell body. You can see. Then you can put your ribosomes and your mitochondria, small ones. You know, tiny circles like this. Just like here, you have ribosomes. Then you can put your small mitochondria. Ribosome. Then you can put your mitochondria here, tiny ones. Okay. And ribosomes and mitochondria and ribosomes. Surely you know that inside the nucleus you find these things. Now you can label, say this is going to be. By the way, you gotta put myelin sheath. And you shade. Can you all see? This is myelin sheath. Its job is to insulate, protect the information. Right. Then this long tube is called the axon, right? And then you have your dendrites. And this, remember, is the cell body. This inside where you find the nucleus and the ribosomes and stuff is called cell body. Questions? Have you seen it? So now let us describe these. By the way, these gaps here between your myelin sheath, this gap here where there's nothing, these are called nodes of Ranvier. Doesn't really matter for you to know them. It's not important because they won't really ask you, but you should just have them. Nodes of Ranvier, just like here you can say nodes of Ranvier. Okay, right. And inside here you can have more things. I don't want to focus too much on that. Let's now talk about them, the differences between them. What does each have that the other doesn't? Right? What do we see on a sensory neuron? What do we see? Right? We know that a sensory neuron, we should know, okay, you should say its function. Let's talk about function. What does it connect? Okay? Here, if I put the diagram, okay, I'll put the diagram at the bottom. Let's start with what their shapes, because that's very important. What does one have? Sensory neurons, these ones are long. These ones are short, very short, and these ones are long. So sensory neurons are very long, they are long. Motor neurons are long, but relay neurons are short. Are we together? Right. Then here, cell body is in the middle. This is the only. Hello? In the exam, they'll give you different things. But for you to know this is a sensory neuron, you will see the cell body in the middle because there is a receptor cell at the end. So this is the only neuron. Listen. This is the only neuron where you will find the nucleus in the middle. So the cell body, where you find the things inside, is in the middle. For all these other two, the cell body is at the end. For the other two types here, the cell body is at the end. So for this one, you say cell body at the end. So look out for that. Here, cell body at the end. Cell body at the end for these two. Now, for sensory neuron, does it have dendrites? No. So no dendrites. Then here you can say dendrites on one end. Just where the cell body is, just like here, dendrites on one end. Are we together? Good. Last one, myelin sheath. Does the sensory neuron have a myelin sheath? Yes, because it's long. Okay, myelin sheath is for insulation when the signal is moving through. Okay, it insulates the axon, right? It insulates the axon where the signal is moving. So this has myelin sheath. This one, no myelin sheath. No need for it. Okay, because it is this one short. Okay, the it is short. Why would you need a myelin sheath to insulate what? When the neuron is a tiny one. The axon is short. Okay, you can put it even to say the axon of a motor of a relay neuron is so short, so it doesn't need any insulation. Here, this one has myelin sheath. Okay, to insulate the axon. Are we together? So this is it. You should know about them. You're not going to let me down, right? Good. Don't let me down. Please, please, please. Let me give you one last thing, and then it is enough. This is the last thing you should know today. Sensory neuron connects, okay, let me do it as a diagram. You should know this is what happens. Okay. Put this box at the center like this. And say this is the central nervous system. Right. Then sense organ will detect something, then it will send it via the sensory neuron. So sensory neuron is quickly sending information to the brain or the spinal cord to say, hey, the hand is burning. Information will move through the brain or spinal cord as the relay neuron. Then last one is from the central nervous system to the actuators or to the effectors. Actuator is more of computer science. You can say to the effectors. This is now the motor neuron. Motor neuron now comes from the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord, and it goes to the effectors. Are we together? Sensory neuron from the sense organ to the brain. Relay neuron, why are you there, Mr. Cable? What's your job? To move information through the brain or the spinal cord, through the central nervous system. Then motor neuron, what are you there? To send signals from the central nervous system to the effectors, which are your muscles, to say, hey muscle, the hand is burning, lift it up. Then the muscle will quickly lift it up. So that information has been sent to the muscle through the motor neuron. Questions? Who has a question?